morning, dear student. Today we are going to start our second lesson, the Chicago speech, written speech delivered by Swami Vivekananda. A brief information about the author. Swami Vivekananda, 1863-1902, was a Hindu monk who represented India at the World's Parliament of Religions held in Chicago in 1893. It was the largest and the most impressive event among the various congresses held during the World Columbian Exposition, a World Trade Fair. The Parliament of Religions is recognized as the first formal assembly of representatives from Eastern and Western spiritual traditions. So you know very well Swami Vivekananda, generally we call he is Hindu monk. Hindu, Hinduism, that most of our Indian have that creeds, and most of the Indian population generally follow the Hindu creed. And he was also the Hindu monk. Monk means saint, we can say, who always try to disseminate or propagate his thoughts and feelings, giving in their scriptures or in their holy books like Ved, Puran, Shastra, all that. He represented India at the World's Parliament of Religion, and that parliament means one type of conference, we can say. Conference, you know very well, that where the delegates from all over the world come and try to deliver their thoughts and feelings, and whatever the discoveries or invention they have made or whatever research they have done, they try to express that religions, that their we can say research there. And in the same way, Swami Vivekananda was also there. He was gone there, he went there to deliver his speech on Hinduism, and in that World's Parliament of Religion held in Chicago in 1893. I think it was the first and foremost conference, religious conference, we can say. It was the largest and the most impressive event among the various congresses held during the World Columbian Exposition. That Columbian Exposition was held at a World Trade Fair, and in that whole there was various type of conferences, we can say. In that whole conferences, that religious conference was held as the most impressive and most important and most largest conference in that whole congregation that they have organized there. The Parliament of Religions is recognized as the first formal assembly. That was the first. Before that, there was not happened such event. Before that religions conference that was arranged in Chicago in 1893, it was considered the first, foremost and most important and first formal assembly. Formal means generally we have various creed in this whole world, various type of religions we have in this whole world, but such type of interfaith conference or inter-religion conference, that was first and formal conference that was held in Chicago in 1893 of representative from Eastern and Western spiritual tradition. Spiritual means Adhyatma. We generally call it Adhyatma, that try to explain the terms beyond this physical world, and how our soul, Atma generally we say, and our the whole the soul is the most important thing, and how we should nourish that the power of that soul, and this type of learnings are there. And generally such type of we can say education, generally the education we are giving or you are taking, or I have also learned, that is formal education, that was not spiritual education. But it is said that when we are getting the formal education, after that The spiritual education also most important. That is the only base that with the power of spiritual power, to spiritual education, we can be a real human being. And that's why the spiritual education is also given the most importance. And that's why in 1893 it was held at that time that there should be also conference, and that is totally related to religious spiritual education or spiritual tenets. And that's why we can say that it was the first and foremost assembly, that first conference based on religious issues. And we are very really proud, we must be proud that our the own representative or delegate Swami Vivekananda delivered lecture in that Chicago in America at that time. Born in an affluent means rich by money, with very rich family. Born in an affluent and educated Bengali family. His family was also really educated and rich family. Vivekananda had acquired means got vast knowledge of various subjects, philosophy, literature, mathematics, whatever it may be. Various subjects, especially Western logic, you know very well logic, Tattvajnan, we can say philosophy, history. By the time he graduated from Calcutta University, he was also graduated from Calcutta University at that time. If we consider that time, there was very few universities in India present at that time, and it was almost a very hazardous task to get a graduation. In that case, he was also graduated at that time, and the most educated person was we can consider Swami Vivekananda, and he had various knowledge about various subject, vast knowledge about various subject like Western logic, philosophy. Western logic means we have Galileo, Socrates, Aristotle. These are the logicists, we can say. They have given much more knowledge to the world, and he was also well aware about their logic and their philosophies and their we can say their lot of the discoveries they had made. This opened his mind to the various intellectuals and philosophical influences and perspective. It is obvious that such type of person who had got lot of knowledge about the philosophy, various thoughts and various logics and various philosophies all around the world. At that time, we consider 1890, that period, it was almost impossible for a common man to get that much knowledge, that much to be the graduate from university. And he was so fortunate, we can say, could get his graduation from Calcutta University, and on the basis of that he could read the various books, various discoveries, various research by the Western authors, Western philosophers, and that philosophy compelled him to do something or to do more research on that particular topic. And particularly he was very much interested in religious tract and especially spiritual philosophy. And at that time he thought that he should devote himself to get more and more knowledge about the philosophy, more and more knowledge about the spirituality. That was the only reason that he opened his mind to various intellectual and philosophical influences and perspective. Later he traveled across India. His close interaction with the Indian masses mean Indian people, help him understand the need to eradicate means eliminate the poverty, illiteracy and oppression of the woman. If we consider the duration 1893, that was our India was ruled by British, and also India was ruled by the Manusmurti, and there was various impact of Hinduism on Indian people, and the most bad habits, tradition were inexistent at that time, like sati pratha, dowry system, we can say child marriage. Such type of various bad habits were there, And when he traveled all over the India, he came to know that he should do something for to eradicate, to eliminate such bad habits, and to do something for poor, to do something for the women, and how to do something for eradication of the illiteracy. That was the most important factor to compel the people in India to behave in that way, to follow that bad habits like sati pratha and child marriage, that also. And so he considered that it was his the good job to do something for Indian people. So he resolved to devote his life to serve people, and to this end he formed the Ramakrishna Mission. A few years later, around this time, he attended the Parliament of Religion in the Chicago, and that was the period when he resolved himself to do something for the Indian people. And at that time he was thinking that how should eradicate the poverty, how should eradicate the illiteracy in Indian people, how to eradicate the bad habits that were oppression of the women and poor and other we can say the subaltern people in India. So he resolved at that time, I have to do something for these people, and that's why that was the duration. He was so inspired by the spirituality that he formed the Ramakrishna Mission, and beyond of that he tried to get more and more knowledge about the various religions, and at that time he also resolved to put forward his own religion to the world, to make aware whole the world about his Hinduism. And that's why he went to Chicago to express his views on religion, especially Hinduism. About speech, as the Indian delegate means representative, we can say, who generally take part in the conference to put forward his research topic. As the Indian delegate to this unprecedented, means that never happened earlier, first time that is happening. As the Indian delegate to this unprecedented interfaith congress. Interfaith means there are various type of religion, there are various type of faiths. Faith means not only Vishwas or belief. This is religious faith. Someone follow the Hinduism, someone follow the Buddhism, someone follow the Christianism, Muslim. There are various type of religion all over the world, and that conference was Interfaith Congress conference. And Swami Vivekananda's welcome address introduced the world to the Hinduism, and he got the chance to deliver his welcome speech, and he at that welcome speech tried to put forward his own thought regarding his own religion, that is Hinduism. This brief but pithy means having a lot of knowledge, we can say. His brief but pithy speech propagates means put forward, to express, to manifest, we can say, to put forward the idea of tolerance. Tolerance means we have that much capacity to tolerate the different belief, to tolerate the different people, to tolerate the different beliefs, we can say. That is tolerance. And universal harmony. Universal means world harmony. If we want to live this whole world, the human, especially the human population in this whole world, if you want to live peacefully, there must be universal harmony. Means each and every country in this world should be tolerate, should tolerate the belief of other countries, should tolerate the governance of other countries. That makes the universal harmony, and that is very useful to maintain the peace in this whole world within the context of religious pluralism. Religious pluralism means there are various religion in this whole world, and we cannot say that Hinduism is the best and Muslim is so wrong. We cannot say. We have pluralism means each and every individual in this whole world have that much right to follow his own belief according to his conscience, according to his religion, according to his own reason. that is his own freedom and right to follow his own thought, own belief and own religion, that is religious pluralism. His speech at this platform brought him international attention. After this, he embarked means begin, start. He embarked on the series of public and private lectures spreading the doctrine of Hindu philosophy in the UK, USA and Europe, and initiating means starting, beginning, initiating the Western world to the rational and humanistic tenets of yoga and Vedanta. He traveled internationally for almost 4 years spreading interfaith awareness, and he generally focused on yoga and Vedanta. Though he focused on Hinduism, but he traveled all over the world to spread the main doctrine of interfaith awareness. Interfaith awareness means each and every individual living in this world have that much right and freedom to follow his own path, his own religion, his own faith. There should not be any hindrance, or there should not be any hatred if anyone following the Hinduism and anyone following the Muslim and anyone following the Christianism. There should be the interfaith awareness, there should be interfaith tolerance, and that is we can say the brief information about this particular speech. And dear student, the lecture regarding portion of this particular text we will see tomorrow. Thank you.